Hello everyone! So I got our March project done and I just wanted to go over a few things with all of you. I would love to hear, right off the bat I'm going to ask this, if for those of you who received the box and you get the project sheet, I would like to know if you would still like me to go over how I made these. If, you know, sometimes it's easy for me to write the instructions and I have it in my head how it should all come together. But I do realize for those of you who are just trying to read the directions, and I do provide images, you might have some questions as to how I did it. So I would love for you to right now go down, leave a comment. Would you like me to show how I made these covers, and I will do another video? Otherwise, if I don't get a lot of feedback, I'm going to assume that most of you were able to follow along with the instructions and it's all good to go. Or maybe there's many of you who did not get the subscription box, but you would still like to be able to make these and see a video on how I did these. So, I mean, this was pretty simple. These are the two covers. Now, I was planning on having this one as the front cover of our album. So it would go like so, and I'm thinking I'm going to do some sort of thick crochet lace, kind of a soft binding there, and then have it flip open. Now, I have to do the cover, you know, the inner cover, because I'm going to create our ribbon or trim closure here, so I don't want to do that part yet. Maybe you want this to be your front and this be the back. Well, I could even really take and create two journals. I haven't made up my mind. There was 3 chipboard pieces that came in the package. So what you received in your box looked like this. And as you can see, there's 3 chipboard panels that comes in it, and then there's 2 holes to make it a ring-bound album. But I was thinking that I would forego making this a ring bound and actually make it, you know, a stitched binding is my thought. So what I was thinking, I could take the 3rd panel and use this for, you know, one of the backs, and then I have this as a front, and then I could also have this as a front. And I think that that's probably what I'm going to do, is have it to where I can create 2 separate journals. So I'm going to leave it up to you, all of you, on how you want to do your journal as we're going through this. Maybe you want to make 2 separate journals like what I'm going to do. I will not be filming how to make 2 journals, but when I show you how we create the one, you'll be able to take the same techniques and create your second journal. Now, in your box, not only did you get the binding album, you also got a rub-on transfer. And I have never used these before, so when I went to kind of experiment with this, I didn't know what I was doing, and I created a huge mess. I was going to try to do it for the back of one of the, you know, chipboard pieces here for our album. And when I went to pull the film from the transfer, I made a huge mess. It wrinkled, it ripped, it tore. This was all like unsalvageable, so I created this kind of brick background. You can see I just used some marker and did some Distress Oxides. And then I had to go back and paint in areas because it was all ripped and you could see through the chipboard, where the chipboard was. And I should have painted my chipboard piece first when I used this transfer. I highly recommend that you paint your cover first and then apply the transfer so it shows up, you know, nice and bright, as opposed to, you know, it's kind of like a tissue paper, and if you don't paint your chipboard, you know, you just have it like this and then you go to lay this over it, it's really dull looking. And so I did want to make mention of that if you decide to be bold and experiment with the transfer that you received in your box. I did not want to show how I did this because I just felt that it would probably overwhelm a lot of you. I did spend quite a bit of time on it. Again, I had to draw in this brick look. You know, I just took and tore paper and created little marks to make it look like a brick background. And then I did have to go back through and paint in the areas that just completely ripped. And I added in some ephemera pieces to kind of cover some areas as well that kind of matched with this text down here. These were from the Tim Holtz ephemera pack. And yeah, that's kind of what I did. I applied some glitter, but I might use this for maybe the back of my door album. And so I just kind of wanted to quickly go over that, and I'm going to let all of you decide. You could just do a plain sheet of decorative cardstock if you didn't want to chance using this transfer. One other thing I wanted to mention is on the doors that you received in your box, they were these clay doors. Now on mine, I broke mine in half on accident. It just was one of those things where my hand just kind of did a crazy thing, and next thing I knew is my clay piece just happened to drop. Now this is shattered, you know, right here. This you can't really work with. It would be a little hard to piece this back together. But I am going to take and kind of do, this is a little more than what I wanted to do, but I want to show you how you can, you know, if yours does come broken, because I know a few of you have reached out to me and your piece ended up just kind of not nearly as broken as mine. You just had a few pieces that ended up broken. Now, if yours is this bad, if you receive your door and it literally got shattered like this, I don't think it will get shattered like this because I had it backed really good with some tags and things. Please contact me though, because I don't want you to have to mess with this. Like what I'm showing here is, again, a little extreme, but I just wanted to show how easy it is to kind of work with this. And, you know, if you have to glue certain pieces together, how easy it is to glue these pieces back together. So I'm just going to show you really quick here. And again, I probably should have not dropped it quite so hard, but I just wanted to show you, really kind of demonstrate to you without making it, I wanted it to be a little more excessive than not. So, okay, so here we go. I'm just, because this is a paper sort of clay, you know, it attaches pretty easily. I'm just gonna kind of just place glue in the crack and then over the top of it. And I would do this on some wax paper or something like that. And I'm going to just start with these larger pieces first. And I'm hoping that most of you got pieces that were not broken. It's my hope. But I did want to show if it did break, you know, I just wanted to show you how easy it is to repair these. I couldn't do a thing where I had somebody say, I wish you could have shipped them separately, and the costs would have just gone up way too much for me to be able to do that. There is no way I could ship these separately. The boxes, I just have them priced so low that I would be taking a loss. Yeah, there is no way I could do that. So anyway, as you can see, it will piece together pretty easily, and I literally shattered mine. Again, I don't expect you, if yours shattered like what mine did here, and it's literally just breaking in more pieces, please let me know, because I'm not going to expect you to sit here and go through the trouble like you see me going through. But I just kind of wanted to show how easy it is to piece these all back together. And then you could just leave the backing on, so if it glues down onto the wax paper, no big deal. But, you know, it just kind of creates a nice distressed door, actually. Don't break your door. Don't break your door to make it look distressed. Whatever you do, don't advise it. Again, I'm just kind of doing this to show, make a point of that these are pretty easy to repair and show you how you can do it using, you know, having some sort of backing. So if you get glue down on that backing and have it stick, it's no big deal. And then I just kind of fill those cracks in with the glue. That's what I do. Now again, if yours got shattered like mine, you can try to salvage it like you see me doing. If it's just too much, you know, I don't blame you. Contact me and I'll get you another door sent out and hope that it does not break in transit. Again, just not a lot I could do because they are super fragile, but I wanted to show, so long as you have this main piece right here, that's the main part that you'd really have to worry about. When this dries, I'm going to go ahead and paint it, and it's going to look like this really kind of cool old looking door, and I might end up liking it better than the one that didn't break. I think that'll be good. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to let that dry. So I'm going to start with this one here. All I did is I took out two of the printouts. It was the one of this window, and this window, it was just by sheer luck that this fits perfectly with our chipboard album. And so all you had to do was cut this out. Now, I would advise you printing out two of these. The first step in creating this is you're going to take some black paint and you're just going to take and paint your chipboard album. Now, if you did not get a subscription box and you want to create this, all you have to do is take some chipboard, and after you fussy cut this out, just back it with maybe two layers of cereal board or some thick chipboard. And you know, you could just cut along here and then do a straight line and a straight line. And you'll have your chipboard piece for your cover. And then you would just paint it black, and then you would attach this to your chipboard piece after you have it fussy cut out. So I'll just go ahead and show you here. And I would print 2 of these. I only did 1. The reason I would do 2 is so you don't really see what's underneath. If you have the album from your subscription box, all you're going to do is, after you have this painted black, you're going to take this piece and you're going to glue this down. Now, I decided to create kind of a shadow layer, so I did take and back mine against some pink cardstock. You can kind of see it here. And I just went and traced around my pink cardstock to create kind of this shadow layer down through here and up above. But you don't have to do that. The next thing that I did is I cut out my flower section here. And again, you probably want to do this on your second printout, but if you only have the 1 print, you can do this using just 1 print like I did. So you can see that is going to be our flower section that we have right there. This will get covered up. You won't see this. All right, so pretend like I have 2 of these printed out. So you'd have this all covered, and then you don't have to be as precise with the next steps. But the next thing that you're going to want to do is cut out these shutters. Okay, so you'd have this on your black piece of chipboard here. So the next thing that you'd want to do is you do want to back this with some heavy cardstock. All of these pieces I would take, glue them down into some heavy cardstock, and then cut them out. So before you do this cutting, you might want to just back it on some heavy cardstock and then cut it out. And so you'll have these 4 pieces like so. And again, remember, they're all backed with cardstock. And then you're going to take some foam dots, and you're just going to take, and this will be flat, glued down onto your chipboard piece. And then the next piece that you're going to work with is actually going to be your fairy here. And so you'll just take and you will cut her out. Okay, so then we're going to take, and I did back it against some black cardstock just to create this little shadow layer, and it kind of matched with my black chipboard here. And then just take some foam squares and you're going to apply her next. And then you're going to take 2 layers of foam squares, and you're going to want to stack them up so you have 2 layers there of foam squares so they go up higher, and then you're going to lay that down. So that would be your next step. And then the last step that you're going to want to do is underneath this, you're going to take 1 layer of your foam squares, you're going to put 1 here and here, and you want to take and bend this so it's going to go like that. So you want to leave it bent. And then that is how you're going to assemble your cover to make it look like this. And you can see I have the 2 layers of foam squares underneath that shutter. So that's all I did to assemble this cover here. And then I just finished it with some trim and a little bit of glitter tulle that came in your kit. And then there's some little flower trim pieces. I gave you some flowers to put there. It's a little different than what I used. And then I took and added in some bling. And I did have a piece of lace trim right under there, and that did come in your kit as well. So that's basically all I did to create the fairy cover, and you can, you know, embellish it more if you want. You could add a little more bling than what I did, but this is just to give you an idea of how I assembled this cover. And then we will work on the inner side of it after we get our closure done. So you don't want to put anything on the inside for now. We're just going to work on this one section right here. For the door, what I did is, so I showed you what to do if your door got broken. Now, hopefully it did not shatter. I literally dropped mine from pretty high and shattered it. And so you'll see when it dries how I'm going to paint it and make it look like this really distressed gnome fairy door. The main thing is, you know, you don't really see the bottom, and I'll be covering up the sides. So if yours did break, I know a few of you told me that it broke at the bottom, don't worry about it. If it's just totally shattered and you cannot work with it at all, please email me and I'll do my best to send you out another door and hope that it does not get broken. These are very fragile, and I just wanted to show the main thing is just so you can have something that looks like a door is the main thing. And if it's broken and a little cracked and distressed, all the better, because we want it just to look like this kind of distressed fairy door. But again, you could switch it up to however which way you like. So for this one, after you have your door all painted and everything, all you're going to do for this piece is with the other side of that paper where you have this frame, you had your fairy on this side, you're going to use this frame. And so you're just going to cut this frame out. Go on that piece. Okay, so then the bottom section here, we're just going to go around. Okay, and then again, I took some black cardstock and I did glue this down onto some black cardstock, and then I just took and I traced around just to create, again, a little bit of a shadow line here, which is, this is my frame right here. You could take and use black Distress Oxide as a different option as well. And so again, you're going to paint this black. And then what I did is I took some of the paper from the window cutout. So you have this leftover piece here. And I just took and I cut one section so you can kind of, actually, you know what? I think I'm just going to rip it. I think that's what I did. And then, of course, you want to get rid of this white section up here. Don't really want that there. And then you'll just take and you'll glue that down like so, and you'll have this side here. And again, you want to take this white section off. So you'll glue that down on that side, and then you have this piece, and you'll glue this down on that side. So you can kind of see where I have just a little bit showing on each side, and then a little bit on the top there. You don't really see much of it. So that is what I did there. And then for the next step, you would take and you would take some foam squares again, and you would apply that down like so. And then the next step that you're going to do is you're going to need a printout of the flowers, these flowers that I used over the door. So you're going to take these and you're going to just cut those out right there. So you just cut, and then you'll cut out the butterfly as well. So these would be at the top and then these at the bottom. And I did leave a little bit of my frame hanging down. And so that is how that goes right there. That's all you're seeing. I took my door, and again it was backed with cardstock, so I could glue it down easily, and I did glue it down to my pieces. And then I just took some, you could take gold mirror board, and you can take a die and create these little flourishes here. Now, you know, if you don't have that, what I did is I ran to Hobby Lobby, and they have those frames in their sticker section, and I just took the stickers, these puffy stickers, and I cut them to kind of create these gold accents. So you could use metal, maybe you have some metal filigree, and I did include that in your February box, so you could use that for your door. And then you received some flowers, so you can add your flowers wherever you like. And then I have these little pieces of flower from this flower trim that I used. And so you did receive some trim in your box. It's not exactly like this. I didn't have enough to go around. I added in some trim, and you could just add in some lace trim. So that is how I did that door. Added in these little pieces of bling here and there, and you received some rhinestone bling, and I think I might take these out and add in the rhinestone bling because I think I like it better. But this is just to give you an idea of how to create your covers. And again, if you would like to see how I did these step by step in a video, please leave a comment and let me know. If I receive enough requests, I'll go ahead and do a video to show step by step, but I think I gave a pretty good overview that if you wanted to create these, you could create them fairly easy from the overview that I just gave. And then again, I will show how to paint your door as soon as my piece dries. In your March box, you got a paintbrush, and that's what I'm going to use here. I'm going to use the same paintbrush. And then I got this at Walmart, and it's a sculpting medium. I have no idea how this works, but it says you can mix with any acrylic paint to add dimension. And so I'm going to try this. It's kind of like thick paint, really. Not as thick as I thought it would be. I probably should have washed my brush first. So I'm just going to apply, I think, a little bit of this to some of those cracks. Just kind of lay down a coat of this first. The bottom is going to be covered, so I don't really have to worry about the bottom too much. Love how I kind of got that cobblestone look to it. Okay, I'm going to let that dry. And all of you got some brown paint in your March box, and so you'll just take some of the brown paint and use that as your base coat. You will need some black acrylic paint to paint this the way that I'm going to. But I'm just going to put kind of a wash going over my door. It doesn't have to be applied evenly. Actually, you don't want it to be applied evenly. You just want this kind of wash. And then we're just going to let that dry. Okay, so the next step in painting our door here is I have some black acrylic paint, and I want to create a dark brown. So with the brown paint that came in your box, you'll just take and mix the two, and you just need a little bit of black. You don't need much paint at all. So we're just going to do a little bit of black, and then I'm going to take my brown paint again, and we're going to mix those two colors. And I want to pull my brown first with just a little bit of black. I don't think it takes much black to darken this, as you can see. And I just want to create this kind of dark brown color. And again, does not have to be perfect. The variation is is a good thing. And I'm just gonna lightly, again, go over with this wash. I might grab just some black. Get in that shadow, where the shadow would be. Those, right by where that arch is. And I'm just gonna take some water, some more brown paint, and go in the middle of this. And I still want that other brown color to come through, so you know, I don't want to completely cover that up. And now I'm just going to take just water. I'm just going to do this kind of wash here on the outer section. And you can see how it just kind of goes right into those cracks and the crevices. I'm going to blend this area through there. And that's about, I think, all I'm going to do there. Now I can take a paper towel and I can pull some of that, you know, kind of dab it and pull some of that paint off so that that gives it kind of an antiqued look. So I'm going to let that dry. Okay, so the next thing for our door is I am going to take in and apply some wax. So in your March box, you received this container of wax in your box. So I'm just going to take and lightly go over some of those, again, just some of those raised areas. Just mainly want to hit this. I really want to hit that door knocker there, and then I'm just going to go around and hit a few of these other raised sections. And I think I'm going to call that good. So the next thing that I would do is I need to cut out my door because it's backed against this paper here. And you would want to, you know, maybe use cardboard or chipboard would work really good if you had to do like what I did. If you had to do some repairs to your door. Alright, so then all you would do next is you want to insert that over your layers that you built up. And then you'll stick your door inside of there, and then you're going to cut out, you're going to cut out from your digital print these flowers here, right here. And I backed mine with some black cardstock and created like a shadow with it. And then you're gonna take, and you're gonna bend, you know, slightly bend your flap here. You know, you're gonna kind of push it up and make sure it bends so you have this space. So I can kind of show you, like you're just gonna bend that up and then you'll stick that down. So after you've built up these two layers here, and as you can see, I backed everything with black cardstock, you're just gonna glue your door on there, and then you're going to apply this section over your door, and you're going to want to take and, you know, make sure that this is bent up. Again, you can see how I just kind of pushed this up over the door to create this little pocket for your door to kind of sit in. And then I just embellished it with trim and flowers. Now again, if you want to see me do these covers step by step, please leave me a comment and let me know that you would like to see me create these in a step-by-step, you know, show a process video on these. But for now, I'm going to call this good, and I think everything turned out really good. I'm really amazed at how my broken door turned out. I'd love to hear your comments. I know it was a little extreme, And normally it is something I would have taken and trashed, but I did want to show you how easy it was to repair it. And so I will be back with more videos. I already have the projects done, and I can't wait for you to see what I've created for our journal. So be sure to check those videos out. I'll have them uploading tomorrow and the next day. If you're liking these videos, please be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you back really soon. Thank you so much for watching.